I can feel it getting springier. Wow, I'm so out of shape. So today I'm going to be challenging myself to make tomato sauce, meatballs, and pasta 2 ways. So the first way is using as many kitchen appliances as I possibly can. Now I'm talking mechanical kitchen appliances, anything that can substitute any manual labor that I may have to do. And then the second way I'm going to try it is using nothing but good old-fashioned analog tools. No specialized pieces of equipment, just knives, spoons, pots, and pans. Because I want to know how much time do these actually save? Is using only the most basic equipment that much more work? And when it comes time to eat, can you even taste the difference? Let's make our tomato sauce. Now, I'm going to be making a smooth tomato sauce. Some people like chunky, some people like smooth. I'm going with smooth. For this, I'm going to be using a food mill. I'm actually using this because it's got 2 purposes in one. It crushes my tomatoes down to the exact consistency that I want, and it filters out all of the seeds and sort of fibrous bits that I don't want in my sauce. Oh yeah, there we go. All right, got out all of that skin and seed bits, which is why I love a food mill. And then of course, get all that nice little pulp on the bottom. Here's where things get into uncharted waters for me. I want to make a sauce that has the same smooth consistency, but I can't use a food mill to break down my tomatoes. My thought process right now is to use a fine mesh sieve and a wooden spoon to try and like press it through. I'm gonna try with 1 tomato. Okay. Honestly, that's kind of working. Look at that. You don't need a food mill. You just need a fine mesh strainer, a spoon, and a little bit of elbow grease. Look at that. This is messy. This is exhausting. I think I got about all that I want out of that because this is just seeds and skin at this point. All right, so let's break this down. The food mill gets points for being significantly quicker and less effort, while the sieve was tiring and messy. That being said, the results look the same, so they both get 1 point each. And of course, no sauce is complete without garlic. So I have to chop all of this garlic, but why chop garlic when you can just use one of these to supplement the whole process? Ba-boom, boom, bada boom. Ah, yeah. That took what, like 30 seconds maybe? So I don't have the luxury of a garlic press, so I'm gonna finely chop this garlic by hand. One of the things that I'm really noticing right now in comparison to using the garlic press is my hands are really sticky. That right there feels nice and finely chopped. The garlic press was much faster than chopping, which is important. However, effort-wise, while my hands were sticky, I don't think chopping was that challenging or difficult, so they both deserve credit for ease of use. They also both get a point for their quality results. The last thing I need to do is finely chop this onion, but I don't really want to have to chop the entire thing, so. I don't know about you, but that looks pretty finely chopped to me. Our onion, you have the roots of the onion. Place your bets on whether or not I'm gonna start crying. All right, onion is nice and chopped up. Once again, the machine proved much faster. That being said, cutting by hand was not that hard. If anything, it's comparable since the food processor is sort of overkill, so I'm awarding them both a point for ease of use. The results were also pretty much the same between the 2. It's time to make meatballs. So I have here beef chuck and pork shoulder, which I am going to grind myself. So first things first, I'm just gonna break this down into small pieces. And what's good about grinding your own meat is you can control exactly the kind of fat content that you want, the kind of meat that you want to use. It gives you a lot of flexibility and it gives you a lot of room to make your own improvements, your own adjustments. Oh, the sound is just lovely. And there you have it, ground my own meat. I have never had to grind meat by hand. I've had no circumstances that ever required it, so everything that I looked up said to slice at like a 45-degree angle, but don't go all the way through. Flip it over, flip it back over, straight down. Honestly, this isn't looking too bad. Well, I think my beef is done. That feels like it's in a good place. Okay, now time to do the pork. Great, more. It wasn't until this very moment how much I realized that ground meat is a luxury. That was exhausting. That was more work than I anticipated it being. Like, my hand is cramped up, I'm tired, and you know, it's gotta keep on trucking. It feels different, not in a bad way, Like, I'm actually surprised I was able to chop it as finely as I did. All we need to do now is just form these guys into little meatballs. Meatballs are done. 24 minutes and 46 seconds. So 34 minutes, 44 seconds. So about 10 minutes slower than using a meat grinder. Time-wise is not bad. I think time-wise that's totally okay. Effort-wise, it is way more work, and the meat grinder was way better because I wasn't as exhausted afterwards. The meat grinder is definitely the star here. It's faster and easier, but the quality of the meatballs seems pretty much the same, so they both get a point. Most pasta you knead with your hands, but why knead by hand when you can use a food processor to knead for you? Which, fun fact about me, was how I learned to make pasta growing up. We would always do it in the food processor and then finish it off on the counter. Hello, friend. All right, we're gonna do a spring test. Look at that. And that took 9 minutes and 32 seconds. Pasta dough. No technology, no food processor, only by hand. The old-fashioned Italian grandmother way. Gonna make myself a little well there. Going to add my egg yolks, my olio, and just a little pinch of salt. Alrighty, here we go. All right, that feels congealed enough. See, the thing about pasta dough is it shouldn't be like super wet. It should be like bread dough. Just gonna break a sweat here. I can feel it getting springier. Oh. Oh man, I'm out of shape. This feels pretty good. Look at that, spring right back. It's been a little over 23 minutes, so about double the time it took to make it in a food processor. Kneading dough in a food processor, it's quick and takes next to no work. Kneading by hand, takes more time and a bit more sweat and tears. But again, their final products seem quite comparable, so they both get a point for that. My dough is nice and rested, which means that all I need to do for my machining is to just flatten and cut my pasta noodles. Oh, look at that. You want to gradually increase the thinness. Don't want to go all in at once. Look at that. And I can just see my fingers through it. Boom. There are two different cut settings on this pasta maker. I'm gonna be going with the wider one. This is the fettuccine. And the only reason that I'm doing that is I don't think I can cut the noodles thin enough to the smallest setting on here. So I think a wider, flatter noodle will work a lot better for my purposes. Moment of truth. That's not half bad. That right there is a machine cut pasta that smells amazing, looks amazing to me, looks almost ready to eat. So that took a grand total of 42 minutes and 14 seconds. Hand cut pasta. I expect it to take longer than it did with the pasta maker. Here we go. Can't quite see my hands through it yet. I can sort of see my hands through that. So now, the moment of truth. I'm going to attempt to hand cut my own fettuccine. Okay. Look at that. Might be a little bit thick. That's hand cut fettuccine right there. All right, let's do that 8 more times. Boom, 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 boom. That is the last of our hand cut pasta dough. 23 minutes and 32 seconds. That took half the time it did for me to go through the pasta machine. This was a bit of a surprise. I think constantly adjusting the machine settings made it take longer, so props to the Handmade for being quicker. Both ways are pretty easy, so I think they both deserve points for ease of use. And the final pastas both looked great, so I think they both deserve points for that. All right, it has been a long day. There's been a lot of cooking. We have handmade versus machine made, pasta versus pasta, meatballs versus meatballs, sauce versus sauce. I want to see if one tastes better than the other and if you can tell the difference between the two. Just got to cook the pasta and throw this all together.
All right, what do we have here?
Okay, so Betsy, we have 2 pastas in front of you.
Okay.
The recipe for the pasta, the meatballs, and the sauce is the exact same for both, but there's one difference between the two.
This one first. Twirl, twirl, twirl. That's really good. I feel like the first one has more flavor versus the second one. If I wasn't like looking for a difference, I probably would just be like, oh, this is great. But like, to me, this one just had more flavor versus this one.
This one, everything was done by hand. This one was made using nothing but appliances. Interesting, so you like the all handmade one.
Yeah.
Very cool.
But it requires more work.
Awesome, well thank you, Betsy.
Thanks Matt.
And there you have it. Though slim, Betsy felt the handmade tasted better, but unfortunately that's not enough to raise its total point value over machine made. And it just goes to show that no matter how much equipment you have or how little equipment you have, you can still pull off a quality dish. The sweet spot is a mix of both appliances and both handmade, and I'm really happy with how both of these turned out. I'm definitely gonna take both of these home and eat both of them over the next 3 days. Have a good one.